Catching a rocket in mid-air with a giant metal tower is an epic way to land a rocket. But the real question is, will this method be enough to meet the huge workload of Elon's ambition? Well, there are many ways to skin a cat, and there are many ways to land a rocket. Now, a new method for landing a Starship has been unveiled that doesn't rely on Mechazilla. What is that? Join me as I explore this, but be prepared. Things could get a little splashy. 2024 has been a remarkable year for Elon Musk and SpaceX, marked by numerous impressive achievements. One of the standout moments was the successful capture of Booster 12 by Mechazilla during Flight 5, a milestone that was later hailed by the BBC as the top science highlight of 2024. SpaceX is currently utilizing this landing method for the Super Heavy booster, and in the upcoming Flight 8 scheduled for this year, they plan to employ the same technique to catch the Starship as well. This method offers several advantages, such as reducing weight by eliminating the need for landing legs. However, in the long term, it is likely to present a range of challenges. First, can the system keep up with Starship's demanding launch schedule? SpaceX is seeking approval from the FAA for up to 25 Starship launches annually in 2025, aiming for nearly one launch every 2 weeks. Elon's long-term vision is to transform Starship into a commercial vehicle capable of launching every 24 hours. Such a tight schedule would put a huge burden on Mechazilla. If this tower was the only method for both takeoff and landing of Starship, the inspection and refurbishment after each flight could not be done carelessly. Relying on a single landing method also presents a significant risk. Remember what happened during the 6th test flight. Due to an issue with the launch tower, Starship had to change its plan and splash down into the ocean. Once Starship enters service, we can't afford to simply ditch the ship in the ocean every time something goes wrong, especially when it's carrying a crew. For those reasons, a backup landing plan had to be created, and I think they already had it. The method they've always used with the Falcon 9 is to utilize an autonomous spaceport drone ship, or ASDS. It is a modified ocean-going barge equipped with propulsion systems to maintain precise position and a large landing platform. SpaceX started using this method in early 2015. Up to now, there have been 3 drone ships built named. Just read the instructions. Of course, I still love you, and a shortfall of gravitas. Drone ship landings offer unmatched flexibility by leveraging the mobility of these platforms. Positioned anywhere in the ocean, they enable Starship to optimize its return trajectory, eliminating the need for extra fuel to reach a fixed landing site. This adaptability enhances both efficiency and performance. Recovering Starship and Super Heavy in the open ocean further mitigates the risk to human and land infrastructure in case of an anomaly. The vast expanse of water serves as a natural buffer, effectively diminishing the likelihood of harm from debris or unintended explosions. With more than 300 successful landings, Falcon 9 has proven the safety and reliability of this method. Now that we've outlined the benefits of drone ships, how can we bring this concept to life? Significant modifications and enhancements will be required to enable Starship to land safely using this approach. The first is on the Starship itself. The Starship is currently designed to be captured by Mechazilla, so for it to land on a drone ship, it will need to be equipped with landing legs. Given the Starship's immense size, these legs must be robust enough to support its weight and prevent it from tipping over, especially when landing in the unpredictable conditions of the ocean. This doesn't mean Starship will remove the launch tower catch support system. Instead, Starship will utilize both methods simultaneously, providing multiple options to ensure a safe landing. Therefore, these legs also need to be foldable like the Falcon 9, both to reduce the risk of damage itself during re-entry and not to hinder the launch tower if the decision is made to land with Mechazilla. While Starship only requires a few adjustments, the drone ships it will land on will need to be completely redesigned. The current drone ships are simply too small. They were built to accommodate Falcon 9, not the immense weight of Starship. As a result, these new drone ships will need to be significantly larger than the ones in use today. To bring the autonomous spaceport drone ship to its oceanic position, a tugboat is used along with a support ship that stands some distance away from the unmanned ASDS. The new drone ship, especially when the Starship is on it, would be extremely heavy. While the Starship is still in development, and its weight and functionality are continually evolving, it's difficult to predict its final mass. However, one thing I do know is that the booster will still be super heavy, pun intended. So a much bigger or more powerful tug must be used to support this weight. Not only does it increase in weight, but the heat that the ASDS has to endure from the Raptor engine is much higher than the heat of the Falcon 9's Merlin engine. For context, Merlin engine thrust is currently around 86 tons, while the Raptor 2 produces 230 tons at sea level. This is expected to rise to 280 to 300 tons with version 3 and 330 tons in the future. This will be a challenge not only for the deck material, but also for the cooling system. Through the video of the 100th landing on the Just Read the Instructions ship that SpaceX posted last month, we know that SpaceX is currently using a system to spray water on the surface of its drone ship to dissipate heat during landing. To withstand the heat from the super heavy booster, they might have to use something like the water deluge system they use on launch pads. For a few gimbal engines, that might be a bit overkill, but something in between. Another thing to consider is the height of the Starship. The Super Heavy alone is taller than the Falcon 9 with its fairing. The extra landing legs are still uncertain. We need something to ensure the Starship or Super Heavy won't fall over when it moves on the drone ship. There's something like that for Falcon 9. A tiny artificial creature is living inside the drone ship. The Falcon 9 securing robot, commonly known as Octograbber, refers to a series of robots used on SpaceX's drone ships to autonomously secure Falcon 9 boosters after they land at sea. Once a booster lands, Octograbber is remotely driven out of its blast-resistant garage on the drone ship and positioned beneath the booster. The little guy uses 4 arms that extend upward to latch onto the base of the Falcon 9, known as the Octaweb, which is the source of its name. After a flight, the Falcon 9 booster has a very low center of gravity, since the majority of its propellant tanks have been depleted during the mission. As a result, the engine section, the Octaweb at the base, holds most of the remaining weight. The Octograbber robot attaches to this section, securing the Falcon 9 for transport. However, recovery teams still need to board the drone ship to carry out additional post-landing tasks. The robot helps ensure a safer and more efficient recovery process. For Starship, I can imagine a much larger robot, perhaps called Raptor-Grapper, specifically designed to handle this task. Yeah, I'm not really good at naming things, so I will rely on you guys to give it the best name in the comments section. Like the existing drone ships, to serve Starship's future landing missions, there will be at least 3 new versions of drone ships positioned in different locations. For operations in Florida, drone ships could be strategically positioned in the Atlantic Ocean to recover both Starships and Super Heavy boosters. Likewise, for Starbase, SpaceX has pinpointed 4 potential drone ship zones: the Indian Ocean, the Central Pacific near Hawaii, the Northeast Pacific, and the Southeast Pacific. Furthermore, the Gulf of Mexico could serve as an additional recovery area for super heavy landings, offering greater flexibility in mission planning. If SpaceX successfully develops a drone ship sea landing system for Starship, it will take a big step toward the vehicle's goals. Returning landing legs is necessary for exploration of the Moon, Mars, and other celestial bodies in the solar system. The concept images of Starship HLS clearly show the presence of landing legs, including both foldable and fixed models, which makes perfect sense. Given the Moon's rugged surface and the challenging conditions of space, a robust, precise, and automated landing system is essential for a successful touchdown. The data and insights gained from landing on legs in challenging environments like the ocean will provide invaluable experience for testing lunar landings. By minimizing the number of tests needed, SpaceX can save both time and resources, accelerating progress toward its goals. Landing on Mars presents even greater challenges than landing on the Moon or Earth, primarily due to its extremely thin atmosphere. Safely touching down on the red planet will require overcoming obstacles unique to Mars. On top of that, the journey itself is long and can only be undertaken every 6 months. As a result, for us to build enough confidence to send humans to Mars, we must conduct years of testing and refine our landing techniques. Then, why not take this opportunity to perfect various landing methods right here on Earth? And ultimately, the sea landing method will be key to making Starship a viable vehicle for point-to-point transport missions right here on Earth. Starship boasts speeds far surpassing those of conventional commercial aircraft, with Elon Musk expressing confidence that this revolutionary vehicle can reach any destination on Earth in under an hour. Having a capacity of over 100 tons and up to over 200 tons of V3, Starship will be a revolutionary Earth-range transport. However, to ensure a smooth landing in densely populated cities like Shanghai without disrupting the local population or infrastructure, Starship must land in the nearby ocean. SpaceX's 2017 Starship Earth-to-Earth video, released 7 years ago, made this point very clear. The only difference is that this time, instead of landing at a fixed landing point in the middle of the ocean and then taking a boat back to the city, an autonomous spaceport drone ship gives us more initiative and options during the landing process. Drone ships can also bring Starship to land for refurbishment in preparation for the next flight. To offer a truly global service, SpaceX would need to establish a network of spaceports and logistical hubs, which takes time, capital, and international cooperation. They would also need to adhere to both national and international aviation and space regulations, including those set by the FAA, Federal Aviation Administration, the ICAO, International Civil Aviation Organization, and other relevant national authorities in the regions they operate. However, as Starship proves its strength in the global market, the regulatory groundwork laid by organizations like the FAA and the growing global cooperation in space exploration could pave the way for suborbital transport to become more viable. The moment Mechazilla caught the Super Heavy booster on its return was an incredible achievement, but the one that truly captured my heart was when both Falcon 9 boosters landed simultaneously. It was in that instant that I fully grasped how far we've come with technology, reigniting the childhood dream of exploring the universe that once felt so distant. Rockets were always meant to have legs, to set foot on alien worlds. SpaceX may experiment with different methods, gaining invaluable experience to refine their technology, but in the end, the tried and true approaches that have proven effective will remain the most reliable solution. The synergy between drone ship landings and Mechazilla's capture will be crucial in unlocking Starship's full potential, enabling it to serve as a versatile vehicle for both Earth and interplanetary missions. As a revolutionary rocket-catching structure, Mechazilla represents a significant advancement in reusable rocket technology. By catching the booster mid-air, SpaceX minimizes wear and tear compared to traditional landing methods, such as splashdowns in the ocean or hard landings on land. This capability allows for quicker refurbishment and reuse of the booster, potentially reducing turnaround time from months to just days, and making space travel more accessible and sustainable. However, as SpaceX targets to ramp up the Starship launch cadence in the following years, the dependence on the launch tower will hinder their progress. That's where an additional solution like drone ship landing comes in. The idea has moved to a concrete plan and is now being considered by the FAA under the FAA's Draft Environmental Impact Statement for Starship operations in Florida, which outlines plans for landing the Super Heavy booster downrange in the Atlantic Ocean on a drone ship, and landing Starship on a drone ship. For the Florida operations, Starship will launch from Launch Complex 39A in Florida. Then, Super Heavy will land on a drone ship in the Gulf of Mexico. And finally, Starship will land on a drone ship in a designated ocean area. The EIS does not specify these locations in detail. However, in another FAA document, the Draft Tiered Environmental Assessment for SpaceX Starship at Boca Chica, Texas, there are 4 potential landing sites. The first area is the Gulf of Mexico. The second is the North Pacific Ocean, with landing zones either between the Hawaiian Islands and the U.S. mainland or west of Hawaii, near the central region of the Pacific Ocean. The South Pacific Ocean offers another potential site, located along the west coast of the South American continent. Finally, the Indian Ocean, where Starship landed on its last flight, provides a vast expanse stretching from the west of Australia to the east of Madagascar. So, why has SpaceX chosen to include water landing in its programs? SpaceX has opted for water landings in its program primarily to enhance payload capacity. By landing downrange rather than returning to a fixed site, the rockets can carry more cargo without using additional fuel. This strategy is particularly crucial for the heavier Super Heavy booster. For the Starship, incorporating a launch and landing platform at sea has always been integral to its design. SpaceX reportedly acquired 2 oil rigs to convert into floating platforms for Starship operations, which will work alongside the ground-based Mechazilla system. As launch frequencies increase, relying solely on one landing method would be inefficient. Drone ships provide a flexible alternative that enhances the program's adaptability. Drone ship landings offer significant flexibility, since these platforms can be relocated anywhere in the ocean. This mobility is advantageous for Starship's potential point-to-point travel across the globe. If Starship can land on a drone ship, it avoids complications associated with landing near densely populated areas like Tokyo or Sydney. Establishing mobile landing ships is more feasible than constructing numerous fixed sites, allowing for easier relocation of operations when necessary. Using the Starship as a means of travel to the other side of the planet could significantly enhance SpaceX's profitability. Indeed, SpaceX can tap into a lucrative market that not only supports its launch operations, but also aligns with its long-term goals of interplanetary exploration. This dual-use capability, serving both terrestrial travel and deep space missions, could provide a consistent revenue stream that fuels further development and innovation. The biggest constraint SpaceX has had so far is the environmental issues and approval for launches and landing near urban areas. That is just as much an international issue as it is a U.S. issue. Water landings help mitigate these issues by reducing noise and risk at launch sites, and reducing problems associated with approvals, as the ocean serves as a natural buffer against potential hazards. Additionally, drone ship landings could expand Starship's international reach. For instance, plans may include collaboration with Australia in the Indian Ocean, where Starships could land on drone ships and then be towed for refurbishment, fostering international partnerships. Over time, this model could lead to new launch sites in various countries, further extending Starship's global influence. On the other hand, there will be some challenges. The most obvious is the gained mass by adding the landing legs. Due to the huge size, the legs on Starship would be significantly larger and more robust than those on Falcon 9. To handle this issue, they could reduce the weight of the rocket by the size of the landing gear to increase the payload. These legs would also need to fold seamlessly to avoid creating unnecessary bulk during launch and flight. Not only the Starship itself, but the drone ships would also require substantial upgrades. Starship's drone ship would need to be much larger and more durable than those for Falcon 9. It would be very important to increase the durability of the drone ships, since they usually withstand the immense forces generated during landings. For context, Super Heavy's thrust is currently around 7,000 tons, expected to rise to 8,000 tons with version 2 and over 10,000 tons in later iterations. Starship's thrust, meanwhile, could reach up to 2,800 tons in future versions. Even though only a few gimbal engines are used for landing, the structural demands on the drone ship are considerable. In this case, SpaceX could add a dedicated water deluge system. They are also adopting a new type of water deluge system to Falcon 9's sea platform that sprays the deck with water before landing to reduce erosion. Using this system on an offshore platform offers many advantages, such as we can utilize an endless source of seawater. Saltwater would not cause much of a negative impact on the rocket engines, as the heat from the engine's exhaust would distill the salt water and turn it into pure water vapor. Not to mention, presumably engine bells are some stainless variety of steel. So how about you? Do you like the concept of a Starship landing pad at sea? Please comment "Yes" in the comment section below. Frankly, many years ago, SpaceX became interested in developing an offshore launch and land pad. In July 2020, the company purchased 2 deepwater oil rigs from Valaris Public for $3.5 million each, shortly before Valaris filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. The acquisition of these rigs, named Phobos and Deimos, was seen as a bargain at the time, intended for conversion into launch and landing platforms for the Starship. However, by February 2023, SpaceX decided to sell the rigs instead of converting them. Gwynne Shotwell, SpaceX's president, explained that the Starship is still in its developmental phase, and its reliability needs to be established through multiple orbital launches before investing in offshore launch platforms. The focus shifted to launching Starship from existing facilities to gain the necessary flight experience. The idea of using floating platforms did not disappear entirely. During the International Astronautical Congress in October 2023, Elon Musk indicated that SpaceX plans to develop a specially designed ocean-going platform for future launches. This reflects the company's ongoing interest in offshore solutions as part of its long-term strategy to support high-frequency launches. While the initial plan to use the oil rigs has been abandoned, SpaceX remains committed to exploring sea-based launch options once it has more operational experience with Starship. Landing the Starship on a drone ship equipped with landing legs embodies a daring and visionary strategy for SpaceX's future. This method aligns seamlessly with the company's ambitions to explore and establish a foothold on celestial bodies, like the Moon and Mars. Landing legs are crucial for missions to other worlds, where stable and adaptable landing mechanisms are necessary due to uneven terrains filled with rocks and cracks. Elon Musk highlighted this need in 2023 when he remarked on a SpaceX tweet showcasing the synchronized landing of 2 Falcon Heavy boosters, stating, "And that's how we will land on Mars." This comment not only emphasized the significance of landing legs, but also hinted at SpaceX's broader aspirations. For lunar missions, prototypes of the Starship Human Landing System, HLS, have already demonstrated initial designs for landing legs, featuring both foldable and fixed models. These prototypes illustrate the challenges of tailoring Starship for environments with distinct demands. While specific designs for Martian landing legs remain under wraps, SpaceX is expected to reveal them soon, especially as plans for an uncrewed Starship mission to Mars draw closer within the next 2 years. Utilizing drone ships with landing legs serves as a vital testing ground for refining these designs. By proving the feasibility and reliability of landing legs on Earth, SpaceX can collect essential data to enhance the technology for use on the Moon, Mars, and beyond. Each celestial body presents unique challenges that necessitate ongoing research and development to adapt landing systems effectively. Before reaching these ambitious milestones, SpaceX must tackle the immediate challenges posed by upcoming Starship missions. A robust re-entry system is critical for successful landings, whether utilizing Mechazilla arms or landing legs. The Starship must withstand the extreme heat and stress of re-entry, making its heat shield system one of its most vital components. The protective tiles must operate flawlessly to maintain the spacecraft's structural integrity during this demanding phase. In addition to the heat shield, other crucial systems include navigation aids such as flaps and engines. These components must work reliably and integrate smoothly to guide Starship through its descent. Their performance will be pivotal in determining the success of landing Starship on drone ships and other surfaces. As SpaceX continues to innovate and refine its technology, the prospect of landing Starship on drone ships represents not just a technical challenge, but a significant step towards realizing its vision of interplanetary exploration and colonization. Anyway, nothing is written in stone. To make the idea possible, it will take SpaceX a significant time to research and develop, as well as test it in reality. Despite the many obstacles, it will be better if they are determined to pursue this new plan, demonstrating their ability to adapt quickly to change.